All right, y'all. Austin Broughton here, your mortgage advisor. Today, we're going to talk about moving up or moving down and how do we make that transition happen without ending up homeless somewhere in the middle. Picture this, your kids are off at college and you don't need the extra room, or maybe we just popped out a few new kids like my family did, and now we're trying to figure out, okay, how do we get some extra space around here? We need to make that transition to that bigger home. What we're going to cover in this video are the most commonly used strategies to help you make that transition from one home to the next as seamlessly as possible. Keep in mind, these strategies are not one size fits all. Make sure you're connecting with a licensed loan officer and realtor to determine the best way for you and your family to make this transition. And as always, if you find this valuable, please like and subscribe to the channel. And please chime in the comments if there's anything that you want to hear specifically about the mortgage market or real estate as a whole. The most common strategy is just a contingent offer strategy. This is where we're going to get your house listed on the market. You're going to work with a licensed realtor to get everything, cleaned up, painted, what have you, ready to hit the market and ready to go. You're going to list it. We are going to do a pre-approval for you based on assumed values, what we think we're going to net from the property, and send you out shopping. Ideally, you're going to be able to write offers on that next home contingent on the sale of your current property. Now, what does that mean? That means that if your current home doesn't sell, you're basically able to back out of that contract without losing your deposit or losing your shirt on the deal. Fast forward, we get into contract on that next home. We line up timelines, ideally, so that your home will close just before your new home is gonna close. That can be done by applying a rent back on your current property or by shortening up the timelines on the next home. But the idea is that we are going to close on your current home. Somebody's going to buy your house, and then immediately the funds are going to get moved to the same title company that your purchase is happening at, and you're going to be able to close on that next property. You got probably a week or so in between where you'll be able to make that move and make that transition happen. But that's a contingent offer. You are writing an offer on this property contingent on the sale of your current home. Now, that's the most common option only because with most Americans, the bulk of their assets are tied up in their home. But what happens if the current home we're trying to buy needs to close first? Because the person selling that house is moving to Florida or whatever, and they need their money now. If your current home, the one you are selling, is not going to close before your replacement property, we may want to look at what's called a bridge loan. A bridge loan is a short-term cash out refinance. It is a second mortgage we would take out on your existing primary residence. We would fund that at the same time as we are funding your purchase, basically tapping into the equity on your current residence for the down payment on your new property, typically giving you 6 months or so to sell the existing home. That way, we have plenty of overlap for you to be able to pack up the kids and make the move happen, as well as to secure the new property. Using a bridge loan is more competitive than a contingent offer because we can show, hey, you are good for the money, whether the home sells right now or not. The downside of this strategy, of course, is that you are going to be stuck with 3 mortgages, potentially, on your primary residence, plus the bridge loan, and then your new home, until you're able to finish selling and finish out the transition. But if you have a healthy debt to income ratio or putting down a lot of money on the next property, it might make sense. The last option, and this is generally the most desirable because it's the least amount of hassle for everybody involved, is simply if you have enough money for a minimum down payment on the next property and you can handle both mortgage payments for a little while, do so. Right? Because if you can just put your own assets into the down payment, we don't have to take out a second bridge loan, you're not paying on an extra mortgage, and you're still able to make that non-contingent offer on the new property, making you more competitive in this market. The big question on that one is, well, now I'm going to have a bigger mortgage than I would if I had the full down payment. What do I do? Do I have to refinance? What do we do when the current home sells? You don't have to refinance. when the current home sells and now you get that big influx of cash, you're able to do what's called a recast into the new property. So if you're able to take that extra 100,000 or whatever it is you net out of your departing residence and plug that into the new property, we're able to recalculate and re-amortize your loan balance. So your monthly payment is going to adjust down as if you had that big down payment to begin with. These are just 3 of the more popular options I have seen in my tenure as a loan officer. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these, and realtors out there, I'd love to hear what success stories you've had as well on helping people make this transition.